Okay, so the question is, what's the difference between a thought and thinking? What's the difference between a desire and desiring? A lot of times we give the names to these processes, right? And they are not really solid things, even though to us, a thought is a thought, and thought has a structure because thought is attached to something or someone, and it borrows that person or an object's structure, and it almost becomes material. But that's the time it's too late. So the question we have to realize is, I mean, if it was a simple question, I would, not a big deal, right? Desire and desiring, right? That's a simple, even kindergarten can answer that, okay, you have a desire, now you're putting into action and you're desiring something. If it was that superficial, it would not belong to this spiritual discussion, obviously. It's the other way around. Last time when you had desire, what happened? See, all these things can start appearing and becoming more obvious only when you do deep contemplative meditation. You spend enough time. It's 15, 20 minutes doesn't do anything. And by the time you start gathering some momentum, you quit. It doesn't work that way. And I'm not saying do it an hour every day, but at least once a week or twice a week, or when it's really bothering you, then go down deep inside and you will find the answer. So when you had a desire before, right? What happened to that? You might have a desire for something or someone, right? And then what happened? You put your efforts, you put your resources and time to get that person or an object or a goal or something, right? And then you got them, right? If you were lucky. Not all the desires succeed. Out of 100, maybe 98 don't, maybe one or two do. But anyway, let's consider that you became successful. And then what happened? As soon as you got that person or an object, then what happens? Did the desire stop for that particular person or for that particular object? Maybe yes. But then desire shifted to something else. It kept on going. So what happened here? If the desire was supposed to bring you to a completion, a complete satisfaction, didn't do it. Why? That's the question. Why did not it do that? If the sansar was so perfect, desiring something and getting it should be the end of your restlessness, right? Because you do have restlessness. So the question is why that desire fulfillment did not stop further desires. The reason is you still have a vritti, a tendency to desire. And you can say, oh, that's a simple answer. It's not a simple answer. Like, Ranna said, when you are in a deep state of sthita prajna state where there is nothing moving, the thought doesn't appear just like that. And I'm talking about a very deeper state. The process of thinking starts, and thinking is built into you. You have a tendency to think, and that's why you're thinking. Buddha always said, you are your thoughts. So I would say even one step, you are your vritti. Say, like we are going by the lake, for example, right? And I don't know swimming. And suddenly a couple of my friends are with me. They see a beautiful lake. They jump into it. Why did they jump into it? Because they have swimming built into them. Whatever way they learned it, whatever they acquired, but I didn't, then I'm not going to jump into the lake, right? So a thought happens when you have a habit of thinking. A desire comes to the surface only because you are a desirer. You can be identified as a desirer who have a tendency to desire. Nobody breaks this down into these details, right? And nobody can even understand, even if I break it down, until you start doing it. When you start getting deeper into meditation, that's when you realize, and everybody has vrittis of different kinds, desiring, thinking, all those things are there. Getting attention, getting fame, all these things we are born with. I always give an example. If we all 5 friends, say, go to a village. And then we reach there, we are comfortable. Now, if one guy loves to gamble, he's going to say, is there any gambling place? Is there any casino here? If somebody likes food, he says, what kind of restaurants are here? Somebody is a very devoted, he's going to look for a temple. Or somebody is a nature lover, he says, where is the nearest hike? So 4, 5 different people will be doing different actions, right? Because each one has built-in vrittis within them. Nothing wrong with vrittis like this, I'm just saying. But Patanjali says, what is samadhi? Yogas chitta vritti nirodh. When you have no vrittis left, including a vritti to think, a vritti to desire, as long as the vrittis remain, you're not in a samadhi state. And so what's going to happen? You're going to keep doing it. Every time you have a desire, you start make efforts to connect with the desired person, desired object, whatever. You get there. But at that time, your eyes are totally blinded by that particular object or person or a situation. You're not thinking about anything else. Why the same person does not seem appealing to someone else? Because the first person has a desire for that particular person or an object or a situation. Same beer, for example, as soon as somebody who has a habit of drinking will be going crazy looking at a beer. But somebody who never liked beer, he's not going to look at it. He will bypass it in no time. So our built-in network, built-in structure of inner mind, we have to be aware of. That's the only way we're going to find out and find out a solution for it. Because if you really are aiming to get into the samadhi state, you really have to realize your vrittis. That's why I recommended people in the group that select only one desire that you might have right now. Trace it down, all the way down to its root. Why am I desiring? Forget about what you are desiring. Why am I desiring? The answer might surface from within. I am desiring because I am not complete. Only when you are complete, you have no desires. This is a simple answer. Again, easy for somebody to understand. It's not the same thing as realizing within. Like Ranna said, that inner state, yes, everybody is not going to be able to stay in that state 24/7. We're going to goof, no question about it. But at least that's the direction we need to go. Yogas chitta vritti nirodh. So desires do not solve the problem. But it's like shooting arrows. I'm shooting arrows to someone or something else, object, person, situations. I never realize where these arrows are coming from. Why am I shooting arrows? For no reason. Why? And again, I go back to the same thing that I've been telling people. Who wants to be happy? And everybody says, everybody wants to be happy. That's not the answer. Only unhappy people want to be happy. Only incomplete would want to desire. So the desiring tendency will be already present in them because they have not connected to the soul. They have not experienced the soul in its totality. In the totally shunya state, they have not. So what's going to happen? They are up in the air, totally feeling incomplete. So they have to do something. So they have to desire, thinking that happiness will come from this particular person or this particular object. So they're going to go and desire, never realizing that desiring is arising from their within. That's what they have to fix. And how do you fix it? By going within, applying your full state of awareness in a deep contemplative meditation. And that's when you realize that when you really become a really complete witness without interfering without interfering, just observing all the activities which are happening in meditation. Obviously, the outside activities are out of question. You are gone beyond that. You have gone within. You saw the thinking process. You're going within. And still, at some point, the desires arise. Thoughts arise. Why did that thought arise? Ask yourself. Go down deep within. What broke my silence? Silence is very easy word to speak, but it's very difficult to grasp. When you have, people will say, okay, when your mind is quiet, people will say that mean you don't have any thoughts. No, I would say when you have no vrittis left, that's the ultimate state of shunya state. And at that time, you connect to the infinity. And then whatever is happening around, the infinite is looking at it without any desires. A leaf falls, you get a joy. I was just doing Paschimottanasana, bending over, and I'm wondering, I said, how many tendons are taking part? Along with my steady body, steady legs, my knees, my joints, all those tricks to keep me only one thing, one balance. And we never pay attention to the balance. Why do we have balance? If you really deeply thinking, you realize that so many muscles, so many coordination, the balance center, all these inner ear apparatuses all are working to keep us one simple posture of balance. And there is so much involved. So it's not as simple as saying that, okay, you have desires or you are in duality. No, yes, you are in duality. We know all these things, but no, but that's all superficial stuff. You have desires, you will go after desires and after the objects, and then you will be desiring. It's not as simple as that. It's like, say, somebody's riding a bike. I would say, what is the difference between bike and the biking? And somebody say, okay, he has a bike. He's not biking right now. He's going to bike and he's biking. If it was that superficial, I would never ask, right? But that biking ability, imagine somebody has no ability to bike and he tries to bike. What is going to happen? Biking is not going to happen. He's going to fall on his face, right? So that inner training that he has, that's deeply studied into him. And that is of biking. I have nothing against biking. I'm just trying to make it a point that everything that surfaces in our chitta, outside sansar is gone, no question about it. But whatever is surfacing from within our chitta, it could be desires, it could be thoughts. Of course, thoughts are also type of desires. All those things, we have to question ourselves. Why are they coming up? Because we have hidden tendencies. And that's what we came here with. Why do we all have different type of thoughts? Because we have different type of tendencies. When a child is born, he looks innocent. Don't think he's innocent. It's only looking for, not intentionally, is just as soon as his body starts developing, his mind starts developing, his physical structure starts getting bigger, he starts earning, he starts having the money, what's going to happen? Each person who has come with a different tendency will be exhibiting a different tendencies. Somebody will be liking science, somebody will be liking literature, why so many people have different tests? They brought their tendencies, their vrittis with them. And somebody wants to make money, somebody wants to go to the moon, whatever. All these things were built in a pluripotent state. In this infinite consciousness was hiding. The purity of consciousness was not there. Every time a child is born, he's born with impurity of the mind. And that's why they are born. If the consciousness reaches to its complete, full glory of zero vrittis, then why would it want to get born? If there are no vrittis, there are no desires, no body, and no second birth. This ultimate state of enlightenment is where all your vrittis are gone. So you really need to go deeper and you need to meditate regularly. And then you can find a wonderful world of spirituality. So much for that. Stop.